What is up, guys? Sorry this is taking so long. It's been kind of weird here with the weather and everything. So it's been raining. I haven't really had any Wi-Fi or electricity part of the day, so kind of been trying to figure things out. How was I going to do this? So I had the videos recorded, but didn't really have any way to upload them or anything. Anyway, so this is the draft review. These are just my thoughts. If you disagree with them, that's fine. It's your team. You drafted your team. I honestly don't care how you feel, sorry, but these are just my thoughts on your team and what I think and how I think you did. So, first team up, we're going from the back forward, so that's 14 team, is Patrick. So Patrick, we're going to go, I guess, we'll go by each round, you could say, so then I can just hit each player, what I think, what I don't, yada yada. So, starting off, 14th pick, Patrick took Jordan Howard. Now, I don't love the pick because Howard has been he's a really good running back. He is a bell cow. He's gotten 25 carries a game, roughly, the first 2 years, every game he started. He didn't start the first 2 games of his rookie year, but other than that, he's gotten a ton of touches, and when he does, he's produced. But the problem is, with new coach Matt Nagy from the Chiefs, they've hired the former Oregon offensive coordinator Mark Helfrich to basically run the offense. He's the coordinator, of course. So he's opening it up. He's doing a lot more spread formations, doing a lot of the Oregon shotgun things. And Howard has never been a very good receiver. He's never been a good receiver out of the backfield. He's never been a good receiver when they threw him out wide. That's part of the reason why they took Tariq Cohen last year, because Cohen is actually really good at that role, even though he's a small guy. All that being said, Howard is super, super safe. So I was a little surprised that Patrick was the one who took him, because Patrick usually likes the upside. And while I don't love the pick, because I kind of had Howard more as a second round running back, maybe mid-second round, he's a super safe guy. He doesn't miss games. He gets his touches. I'm sure, even though he may not fit this new Chicago Bears offense, they're going to find a way to use him because he's still probably their best offensive weapon on offense, despite going out and getting Trey Burton and Allen Robinson, and they have Mitch Trubisky, and they got Cohen. I still say Howard's the best player on that offense. So, don't love him. Not super happy with the pick, but super safe. And for a first pick, I suppose, if you want to play it safe, I get it, especially because he has back-to-back. And so I guess that really came in handy because the second pick was Devontae Freeman, and I actually really like that pick. Freeman, when he's been healthy, is one of the best running backs in football. He gets his touches. They feed him a whole bunch in Atlanta. He has to share the backfield with Tevin Coleman, which isn't great because Coleman's actually a really good receiver out of the backfield, and Freeman is good, but he's not amazing. But a couple years ago, he was the number 1 running back in fantasy, and so that should just tell you what kind of fantasy upside he has. Last year, he was only 13th, but that's because he missed 2 games, and then he got hurt really early in one of the games. So I guess you could say he missed 3 games. He still was 13th as a fantasy running back. That's really, really good. If he doesn't miss those games, chances are he's probably late top 10, maybe 8th, maybe 7th best running back in fantasy. And that's really that. You can't ask for much more than that, being at the back or starting in the second round or being at the first round. Freeman's upside is just huge. If Tevin Coleman were to miss any time, Freeman could see anywhere upwards of 25, 30 touches a game. That's counting receptions as well as rushes out of the backfield. He's a terrific player. He averaged last year, counting the injuries, 10 points a game. So if he hadn't gotten injured, he would have averaged 14.5, 15 points a game. That's incredible to get for your second running back on your team. And so while I didn't love the Jordan Howard pick, getting a really efficient, high upside guy in Devontae Freeman as a second pick, really, really putting them together is really great. Because even if Freeman is to miss time, Howard's going to be there. And while Howard doesn't have the upside, Freeman does. So it's it was interesting. It's interesting to see like Patrick go back to back on running back. I wasn't expecting that. I guess it kind of happened because the way the draft board fell, and now, obviously I'll get to the other teams and what they did and how things happened. But, Odell Beckham was gone. I mean, he could have taken Hopkins. Michael Thomas was there. But I think he probably sensed that there was going to be a run on running backs early. I think he probably wanted to get that out of the way. I'm not sure if he noticed the wide receiver depth like I did, but I'm fairly sure he noticed that there weren't a lot of great running backs, and that's probably why he went back-to-back running back. So I respect the strategy. Don't love the Jordan Howard pick, but Freeman makes up for it. So first two picks, good with. Very good. Super solid. Third round pick. Okay, so this was a little weird, I guess, because there were a lot of players on the board falling towards him that he was hoping to get, and it didn't really seem like it fell very well for him. So his third round pick was T.Y. Hilton. This is right after Brandon Cooks, a couple picks after Marshawn Lynch. Jeffrey was a reach, but we'll get to that later when Charlie's team's up. Doug Baldwin, Royce Freeman. People are taking players with like upside. They're taking players they like, and I don't think Patrick really liked anyone on the board at the time. I think he kind of just felt like, who's the best player? And the best player is T.Y. Hilton. I don't love T.Y. I think he's very Andrew Luck dependent. Last year without Andrew Luck, the second season since his rookie year, he had under 1,000 yards receiving. Couple years ago with him, though, he led the league in yards. He doesn't get a lot of red zone catches because he's a burner. He's a small, fast guy. He'll blow the top off a defense and win you a game or two or three during the regular season. But the problem is he doesn't get that. He's not like that red zone target Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins guy. He's not when you're 15 yards from the end zone and it's third down and you're going to throw it there. He's not the guy you're looking for because he's not tall enough. He doesn't jump. He's fast, but it doesn't really matter because you're close to the end zone. So I think he was kind of boxed in on this pick. I think he just felt like, I need a receiver. There's no running back I really love here at this point. I got the back-to-back picks anyway, so I might as well just take whoever I think is the best player on the board at the position, which is wide receiver, and I'll take T.Y. Again, don't love the pick. I think T.Y.'s all right. I think if Luck is healthy, T.Y. Hilton is a top 10 wide receiver for the season. He has top 5 potential, but I just don't think he's going to score enough touchdowns. He'll get yards, but you need touchdowns to win games. Touchdowns win games. Touchdowns win playoff games. And I don't think T.Y. Hilton's going to really score a lot of touchdowns. There'll be 3 or 4 games during this season, though, he'll win the game by himself. So don't love the pick, but I get it. He's the best player on the board. So, reach, but I understand it. Fourth round pick. Okay, so here's Patrick. This is what I was expecting from Patrick. It's like, let's just go upside. I don't know what we're going to get. Let's just roll the dice and see what happens. So, LaShawn McCoy. So, here we go. He has already gone double running back the first 2 rounds. He's taken T.Y. Doesn't love T.Y., but that also tells you there's not a lot of good running backs on the board. It's pretty early to take a quarterback. So, who's the best guy on the board at running back? LaShawn McCoy. Now, we've talked about it in the chat quite a few times. McCoy he's 30 now. He's getting older. That offensive line is not very good. The quarterback is Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman is the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. That's not a good sign. All right, Tyrod Taylor is not a great quarterback, but oh my God, Nathan Peterman's really bad. He's 32nd among 32 quarterbacks, and Blake Bortles is like barely ahead of him. But you're worse than Blake Bortles. That's really bad. And so they're going to run McCoy into the ground, but the issue is he's being investigated for his allegations of his girlfriend getting beat up and stolen jewelry from a house that she was living in that he owns. Just legal issues. I'm not really going to get too much into it, but we've talked about it on the chat. But super risky because he's being investigated by the NFL. And he's being obviously investigated in Georgia for this alleged incident. Now, he obviously didn't do it because he was down in South Florida for training camp. But, still, I'm sure everyone has friends and things. I don't know. So, not sure how that's going to play out. It's super risky because, the the NFL's investigating it, and if they find like literally any like suspicion or any like anything at all that links him from basically getting the jewelry stolen from his house and having his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend who's living in his house, like if he has any involvement in that incident, he's going to get suspended, and it's going to be a long time because there's just it's really bad. So it's a whole mess of things. She's suing him in court. It's just purely on football. He's a great player. He was 7th best running back last year. He's posted top 7 fantasy seasons 5 years in a row. He wasn't terribly efficient. He didn't get a lot of yards after contact. But, I don't really blame him because literally teams are just loading up. It's kind of like Jacksonville with Leonard Fournette. Teams are just loading up the box against Buffalo. But as much as I don't like Blake Bortles is a better quarterback than Nathan Peterman. It's really not a good situation. So, and he's going to get the ball if they're within 5 yards of the end zone, he's getting the ball. There's no one else on that team. They cut Jonathan Williams last year, and they have Mike Tolbert, and it's just he's getting the ball. He's going to get the ball a lot. He's going to get the ball probably 22, 23 times a game minimum. He's going to get over 1,000 yards. He's going to get 7 touchdowns. He's going to be very good. The only reason he fell this far is because of the legal allegations, and not sure how that goes. Again, he could be suspended for who knows how long. But purely on football, is a great pick. It's a lot of upside. He's the best player on the board. It's not close. Obviously, there weren't any good receivers to be had. The next pick is Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's suspended 4 games. He's missing a quarter of the season. So if McCoy's on the board and you could guarantee me that he was going to play all 16 games this year, he's a second-round pick. So the fact that you got him in the 4th round, great value. So it's weird. It's risk, but at this point, I accept the risk. That's good risk. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a legal situation. You can't know, but good roll of the dice, Patrick. Going for upside. I dig it. I understand it. Next pick, Delaney Walker. Now, I don't love tight ends. I think they're overrated. I did a posting on Google that I shared with everyone in our fantasy league about how, here's all the championship teams, and here's how well they've done, and it just so happened, 4 of the 5 teams have, a top 1 or 2 tight end, but there's causation and correlation, and then there's, there's just pure luck. Andre won with a number 9 tight end last year, and he had, the number 1 receiver and number 1 running back. He had, a top 9 quarterback. What are the things that I thought that helped him win? It's the running back. The running back gets the most points. Quarterback's helpful, but tight ends, you need a top 10 tight end. It doesn't need to be great. If you get a top 1, that's a good advantage, but don't need it. Anyway, going along with that, so my initial thoughts were this is a reach. This is the 5th round. There are other players on the board that I really like. For example, I ended up taking Corey Davis in this round. I really like Corey Davis. He's my number 2 receiver. Devin Funchess went in this round. Devin Funchess, good receiver, number 1 receiver in Carolina, good receiver. Marquise Goodwin went in this round, good receiver. He plays for Jimmy Garoppolo. Marvin Jones went in this round. He's a top 10 receiver last year. I don't know if he's going to repeat that next year, but there were a lot of good players in this round. But on some inspection, I will give Patrick that he took Delaney Walker. Walker is super consistent. I did not realize how consistent he was until I really went into it, and I actually have it pulled up, how consistent this guy is. So, literally, if we go through it, he's had 3 consecutive top 5 fantasy campaigns at tight end. He has appeared in at least 15 games every single year for 7 straight years, and has finished no lower than 9th in targets in those years, and 9th in targets, receptions, or receiving yards in the that is crazy consistent. That means this guy, even if I don't think he's going to be a top 1, 2, or 3 tight end, he's going to be there for you the whole season. He's not going to get hurt. There's no Jordan Reed garbage injury risk. I hate Jordan Reed. There's no like Gronkowski injury risk. There's no Jimmy Graham fall off dependent on touchdown kind of things. The Tennessee Titans are going to open up the offense. I'm really happy about that. So they're opening up the offense. They brought in, I forget the guy's name, but he worked under McVay. They brought in McVay from the Rams. Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is the O coordinator for Tennessee now. And I like him a lot because he was the quarterback coach at the Rams last year. So he's going to open up that offense with Marcus Mariota. I don't know if Mariota is the guy. He's had really good moments. He's had not so great moments. Last year it wasn't very good, but he won a playoff game. But Walker's going to get his touches. He's got to get his touches. And he's always been pretty good with getting those touches. So, like, could I see 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns? Yeah. Do I love that in the 5th round? No. Is that good for a tight end? Yes. So, I feel like he was filling a need. Don't love the pick. But on closer inspection, it's a good pick. Because the guy's just super, super consistent. Like, you can just stamp him on your team, ride him out. Next 16 weeks, 17 weeks, you're going to play him 16 times, 1 week, bye week. And he's going to be there, and he's going to produce. And there are going to be weeks, some teams don't have good tight ends, and some weeks someone has spectacular coverage, but like the pick. I like the pick a lot. It's a good pick. Next round, Randall Cobb. So we're in the 6th round now. Not a whole lot of things. Like, this was the back-to-back pick, so I understood, there were a lot of players that had gone early that he probably would have liked. He's already got 3 running backs. He's filled tight end. Unless you want to take a quarterback, I mean, I guess you could, but unless you love someone on the board, you got to take a receiver here. So this is a need pick. When you're doing the double dipping, when you're at the other end of the snake, you're going to have to fill with need, just like the T.Y. Hilton McCoy thing. Love the McCoy pick. Don't love the Hilton pick. You need to take Hilton, though. Best player on the board. Same kind of thing here. So you got Randall Cobb. He's a slot receiver for the Packers. I mean, the hope is Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy. I think obviously he is. Nothing's come back. Kind of strange. Jordy Nelson's gone. They brought in Jimmy Graham, so that kind of sucks. He's going to soak up some red zone targets. But the hope is, with Cobb, basically, you're getting consistent production. I mean, he's not an amazing, awesome, gonna win you games during the year by himself kind of player. He's more like, probably a top 30 receiver. He'll have like some 11 point, 10 point, 11 point, 12 point games, but most of the time it'll be like 7 or 8 points. That's not great value-wise, but you can plug him in, and, if something should ever happen to say, I don't know, say Rodgers is playing great and Jimmy Graham gets hurt, which is inconceivable because he's gotten hurt quite a few times. Cobb is a good red zone target. He's scored a lot of touchdowns. He scored 12, I believe, in 2014 and 14 in 2016. For whatever reason, even number years, Cobb has scored a lot of touchdowns. So it's 2018, so who knows? But, he's probably going to get like 80 catches. What he does with those 80 catches really just depends on does he score touchdowns or not. So if he scores like 14, 15 touchdowns when he should score like 6, that's going to raise whatever low bar. Like I have him like maybe my 32nd best wide receiver in fantasy, and that would make him a top 15. Like that's crazy good value. So don't love the pick, need pick, get it, don't love it, but what are you gonna do? Next pick, C.J. Anderson. Andre will tell you he doesn't like C.J. Anderson, and I totally get it because he's a slow, plodding guy who doesn't do a whole lot. And I mean, it's for his bench, so it's okay. I'm surprised he actually made the Panthers because Christian McCaffrey just made him look terrible. But he's had a top 20 fantasy campaign, funny enough, was just last year over 1,000 yards, as much as Andre may have complained about C.J. Anderson. And as inefficient as C.J. Anderson was, there were some games last year, ran for over 100 yards, scored some touchdowns. So, he's worthy of being on a team. I feel like this was just like trying to fill a hole because you're trying to get another running back, and quite a few running backs had gone like right before him. So I get it. Like if we go through it, Marlon Mack, Sonny Michel, Duke Johnson. So that's 3 running backs going right before him. So there was a bit of a run, and you're trying to fill needs on the bench. Fill-in guy maybe comes into something. Maybe Christian McCaffrey gets hurt with all that, the amount of touches he's going to get. So you never know. So CJ, don't love him. He's good, solid pick. Next pick's Ty Montgomery. I like Ty. He was a second-round pick last year. He never stays healthy. That's really the issue with him. If he could stay healthy, he'd be a pretty good player because he catches everything out in that backfield. Like, that backfield's really weird. I know Mac, went pretty high on Jamal Lewis, and I went, ninth round Aaron Jones. But really, Montgomery's the guy who, if he could just stay healthy, he would be a workhorse. He'd be really, really good. But I don't think he's going to stay healthy. So where does that put him? That means possibly you're going to get him for 10, 12, 8 games, maybe half the games. But he's going to score in those games. I mean, he is probably one of the best receiving running backs out in the backfield in football. I mean, he's a former wide receiver, so he should be. Nothing against Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams can't run, can't really catch. I don't give a crap about his stats last year because there was no one on the team anyway, so he was the only guy. So Montgomery's the guy with a lot of upside, so I respect the pick. It's reach, respect it. Next, we had Ben Roethlisberger. Don't love Roethlisberger. He's pretty inefficient in how he gets his fantasy points. I think I mentioned this to him offhandedly, and it's probably why he picked up Tyrod. Roethlisberger is incredible at home, okay? He is a top 3 fantasy quarterback at home. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just he goes to a local sandwich shop and gets a burger or something, and it just makes him feel at home. I have no clue as to why Roethlisberger is so good at home, but he's average 20 points a game at home for the last 4 years, top 3 fantasy quarterback at home. But he's terrible on the road. He's a bottom 5 quarterback on the road. He averages 12 points a game on the road. So if you can platoon him and start half the games, whatever games he's playing on the road, doesn't matter where. Man, that door is freaking me out. Doesn't matter where you put him. It doesn't matter where he's playing. It could be in Cleveland. It could be in Baltimore. It could be in Cincinnati. If it's on the road, I don't touch him. But if he's at home, I don't care who he's playing. It could be the Patriots. It's going to be a great game. So, do I want a quarterback I'm only going to play half the time? No. Is it a great pick at this time during the draft? I think it was a reach considering that one aspect. So, not very good with this pick just because I feel like there were better quarterbacks. I mean, you need a quarterback, obviously. But, I mean, if you can get the most out of them, I mean, Jared Goff is on free agency as I'm recording this video. So, if you can get Jared Goff to platoon with Ben Roethlisberger, or Tyrod Taylor to platoon with Ben Roethlisberger, or whomever to platoon with Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, you're going to get top 5 production if you just start the other guy, whatever games Roethlisberger's playing on the road. So, yeah, I'd rather have a quarterback I'm going to play all the time, but, I mean, if you do that, that's pretty good manipulation of value. So, I don't know. I don't love the picks. I don't love Roethlisberger, but if you do that, if you go through the process of doing that, you got to do it 8 times almost every other week, but it's a lot of value. So, a lot of meat on the bone, as they say. Going into defense, he took Keanu Neal. I think he was the first safety on the board. He plays for Atlanta. He's pretty good. Last year, he was top 3 at his position. Very solid safety, gets a lot of tackles. That's what you want from your safety. Boom, easy. It's easy money. He was the first guy to take a safety in our league, and I can understand why he's the best safety on the board. DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay, so Lawrence plays for Cowboys. He's a sack master. He's going to get paid, like, next year. Like, I don't know if he's going to get, like, Khalil Mack paid, but he's going to get paid quite a bit of money. So he's had, like, last year, I think he had one game where he had, like, 4 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. So he's going to win you some games. He started off super duper hot last year. Kind of cooled down towards the end. But if he can just stay healthy, he's top 5 at his position. Again, another 10-point player at defensive line. I feel it's a little early. Instead of, like, going in the middle of the rounds and just being like, I'm going to address safety, and I'm going to get defensive line, and then linebacker, and then another linebacker. I don't feel like you should do that. I feel like you should do every other, like, linebacker, running back, defensive lineman, quarterback. Like, you should jump back and forth. Because if you just do it all at once, by the time you're done, everyone on the end of the board is not going to be very good because a lot of the offense players are going to be gone. You should be jumping. You shouldn't just go all at once. But that's just me. And I guess maybe he found that later because he got Calvin Ridley next, and Ridley is a very good upside player. He's scoring behind Julio Jones, went the same college as Julio Jones, Alabama. Good receiver. I don't know if he's going to get enough touches in that offense. I don't know if they're going to. There's a lot of people you need to feed. There's Julio and Mohamed Sanu, and then you got Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. So, like, there's 4 guys ahead of him on the charts of I need to give those guys the ball before I get to, oh, hey, there's Calvin Ridley. But injuries or maybe Ridley blows up. He's very explosive. I think it was a great steal to get him. Cameron Meredith, number 2 receiver on the New Orleans Saints. Next pick. Love that pick. Great upside pick. Meredith has huge potential. The number 2 Saints receiver historically has done pretty well. I remember those Marcus Colston, Drew Brees years. Did they do that great last year? No, because they weren't throwing the ball as much because Alvin Kamara is amazing. But you can't tell me that Drew Brees is going to throw under 30 touchdowns. You know how many times he's done that as a Saints quarterback? Once. You know when that happened? Last year. You know when that's never happened before? Before last year. So, yeah, if you have to tell me on law of averages, is Cameron Meredith going to score at least like 8 touchdowns for the Saints this year? Law of averages would say you would be right. He's going to score more than that because he's just going to see the ball so much. I like the pick. I like the pick a lot. He's got a lot of upside. There's no way that offense like Drew Brees is going to like, oh, we need to do balance. We need to run the ball because we love Alvin Kamara. I mean, I like Alvin Kamara too, and I like the defense as well, but Drew Brees is going to get some more touchdowns. It's Drew Brees. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's getting more touchdowns. And then, just kind of towards the end of the draft, Dan Bailey was the next pick. He's looking for a team right now. I'm sure he'll sign him somewhere. So, he's super consistent. Surprised got cut. We got next. We got KJ Wright. I like KJ. Plays for the Seahawks. Good defensive linebacker. Gets a lot of tackles. He's hurt right now, so that's probably why I dropped. But pretty consistent. We got getting down there. Oh, took Jason Pierre-Paul, but you cut him. That's probably good. You got Tyrod, so I guess you're going to platoon with Tyrod. Maybe consider Jared Goff instead of Tyrod, but I think Tyrod's a good player. I think Tyrod is very solid. And again, when Roethlisberger's on the road, you play whatever other quarterback you can find because if you can platoon him, that's great value. Dante Hightower next. He gets hurt a lot, like a lot. Plays for New England. He just got paid. Bill Belichick likes him, but again, he's got to stay healthy. I think he played like maybe 5 games last year. He's never healthy. So, just it's a linebacker, though. You can find one of those. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on Patrick's team. If I have to give this an overall grade for his team, I'd probably give it a B. B plus? Nah, B. Yeah, a B. Above average. It's above average draft. He's got some of the best running backs. He's got depth at running back, which I cannot say for a lot of teams. There's going to be some teams I'm going to review, and they just did awful. But he's got depth. He's got quite a few running backs. He's got a few receivers. I don't love them. They're not great, but they can hold the line. And that's really what you need, because if his running backs really do produce, if you tell me like Jordan Howard and Devontae Freeman and LaShawn McCoy and Delaney Walker and Ben Roethlisberger are all top 10 at their positions, it doesn't really matter who I have at wide receiver. I could have like freaking the Bucks wide receivers, and I'd probably still win a majority of my games. So I think the team's really good. This is a very good team. It's deep. I don't love C.J. Anderson, Ty Montgomery, but you need running backs. He's got 5 of them, and C.J. and Montgomery are going to get touches. So that's really good depth. A lot of teams don't have that depth. At the end of the bench, you got really good upside. Ridley's good upside. Meredith's good upside. He has a secondary linebacker in KJ Wright or Dante Hightower, injury risk, but you cut one whenever you get injured and you pick something up off free agency, so it's easy. You got one of the elite safeties. He's got platooning quarterbacks who will give him great production. This is how you build a team. This is a great draft. It's above average draft. I'm not going to give it amazing star A thing, but it's a really, really good draft. I can see why Patrick always picks 14th because he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not affected by anyone else around him. It's a great draft. B. I guess we're going to move on to Brian next.